What's up, YouTube? Today on the channel, I'm finally digging into a card that gets no love, and in fact, has been talked about for a complete rework from Second Dinner. So before that happens, to solve this particular meta and make my way towards Infinite, I'm working on a Jean Grey Supergiant deck to counter this very intense Sholau meta. Let's get into the elevator pitch. This is an archetype that needs a little more love. It's a Supergiant Jean Grey deck. The idea being you Supergiant on 4. Hopefully you have priority from all of these efficient early drops like Black Cat and Lizard. And then since you have priority, you can drop an Absorbing Man under the Supergiant with the eventuality of Aliothing or Shang-Chi to hit something they already played, and then the Absorbing Man hits the Supergianted card. Jean Grey is here because if you play Jean Grey first and then Supergiant maybe somewhere else, they have to play on the Jean at first. And in this meta, if they play something huge there, you're ready with a Negasonic, or you can come back and just, hit it with an Alioth or the Absorbing Man. There's lots of tech here. Shadow King for all the Sholau stuff. Cosmo at the end of the game to stop a zombie Galacti from going off. It all kind of works way better than you think it would, and it draws a lot of retreats. That's the pitch. Before we talk about each card in the deck, if you're not subscribed to the channel, you can see I'm at 949 subscribers. We were at 950, we dropped down one, it's okay. We're just trying to get to 1,000 and we are in the final stretch. So if you could do that, I would super giant appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, let's talk card by card. Zabu. First of all, let me just say I have Invisalign now, so if I sound a little different, that's why. Please bear with me. Zabu's the first card in the deck. There are a lot of 4-drops in here. I couldn't, I haven't played Zabu in a while because I haven't played a lot of 4-drops, but given Shang-Chi's here, Absorbing Man, Negasonic, Stardust, they are all targets. Supergiant, although you usually want to play that on 4. Great targets for Zabu. It lets you play 2 4s on the last turn if you need to, which oftentimes you will. Even just playing a Stardust on turn 3 can be backbreaking, so I think Zabu is more than worthy of its inclusion in this deck. Black Cat, you could play Hydra Bob here if you would prefer. Black Cat is obviously more budget, and I like playing it because if I'm drawing at the end of the game anyway, I'm not going to be able to play it. I'm usually capped out on my energy. And so it doesn't really hurt me that if I draw it, I need to play it early because I'm usually wanting to do that anyway. And I don't like Hydra Bob moving around. I just don't enjoy it. It messes with my math. So that's why Black Cat's here for my early priority. Lizard, this card is very underplayed for a reason, but we don't really care if they end up putting 4 cards down at the end of the game. We're usually disrupting them in multiple ways by then. We just need the early priority, and Lizard is the best 2-drop in the game at doing that. Maximus obviously exists, but we don't want to give them cards. Even though we're trying to counter them, we just don't want to give people cards. That's not good, and we're not a Ronin deck, so Lizard it is. Cosmo, this card was not here in the first couple games of gameplay, you'll notice, but I saw a lot of zombie Galacti, and I think that in general it's probably just the right call to have it here. It kind of conflicted with Jean for me and with Supergiant and all that, but at the end of the day, this is too good of a tech card in this current meta with Sholau running around and zombie Galacti. They're very prevalent. Cosmo just eats their lunch, and I mean, she's a good girl, so. Then we got Jean Grey, the fun part, the crux of this deck, the card that probably won't have this same ability soon. So for now, let's play it while we can. Just remember Jean fondly, even though nobody ever plays this card. I got a ton, and I mean a ton of retreats from people not being able to handle Jean messing with their placement. This deck in particular has a lot of ways to react to that. You could play Negasonic after. You can play Alioth at the end of the game if you're priority, because they're probably going to play something good in the Jean lane. The only thing you run into is occasionally when you're playing against people with Merlin spells, they just play those in the Jean lane and then play elsewhere. So keep that in mind. But if you're playing anything super greedy or a chamber type of deck, ramp like Jean Grey is so good right now. Shadow King, there's lots of targets for Shadow King. It's one of our only ways to beat like a Nimrod style deck from our opponent. If you're going to not have priority, Shadow King is really good at stopping those Shoulaos. And yeah, you know Shadow King, you know why it's played. There are plenty of cards that it really hurts, especially in this meta. Shang-Chi, even in its current state, I mean, in its previous state, it would have been an absolute all-star in this deck. As it is, you can play it with an Absorbing Man. You can play it after a Supergiant and make sure you're going to hit something big, as long as your opponent is playing stuff over 10. But honestly, who isn't right now? Shang-Chi is not as good as it once was, but still important enough and can be more of a surprise because people aren't expecting it. It's not played nearly as much as it used to be. Absorbing Man, this card is just the easiest thing to play after a Supergiant, because then anything you play on turn 6 at the end of your turn will be doubled by the Absorbing Man, usually in a different lane. So that's really good. You can use it with Shadow King or Shang-Chi or Alioth. Those are your obvious hits with it. Absorbing Man, if it gets Zabu'd, you can play it with another 4 that got Zabu'd at the end of the game as well. So also, sometimes you play an early Shang and they're like, ha, we don't have any more of that for me, and then Absorbing Man on 6 can hurt them. Negasonic, this card, especially at the end of the game after Supergiant, is great, but you can play it on turn 4 or 3 if you Zabu'd. It's really great after a Gene. If you think they're going to play something pretty big on turn 4, you can just Negasonic on 4 right after a Gene, and you know that it's going to hit something there. If they're playing a bunch of 1-drops, you probably want to save this till later in the game and hope to hit something better, but Negasonic's very, very good in this deck. Stardust, this is a flex spot. If you do not have Stardust, there are other things you can play. You could play some other piece of tech. You could play, I definitely considered Cosmic Ghost Rider and Enchantress. Those are very fine alternatives to Stardust. I have it here just because I like the fringe cases it hits. I like how it neuters Destroy. It's the best answer in the game to Nimrod or like a Black Panther. If you think they're like a Zola Panther deck, Stardust is obviously amazing for that. Stop certain locations, things like you wouldn't even expect, like a Dr. Ock, if you ever see those, maybe from a bot. But Stardust is just a card I don't get to play a lot of, but when it becomes a 3/6 from Zabu, or in some of those fringe cases, it's game winning. So like I said, could be Cosmic Ghost Rider, could be Enchantress, could be any other big piece of tech you like, or even something small if you want extra priority at the beginning of the game, but lots of options. Supergiant, I wouldn't play this deck without this card. This messes up a lot of plans. They cannot Shoulao on 5 with Supergiant, and then you can Alioth it if they do play it under the Supergiant kind of veil. It also, if you happen to play against something like a Hela, that really messes them up. They can't Modok. They can't, they can't do those things. If you end up facing Sarah decks, they're in trouble. Anything that wants to play on 5 and not have it delayed, Supergiant crushes. It also, people just still don't understand exactly how it works a lot of the time. And alongside Alioth, it is one of the more powerful finishing moves in the game that, if you get to the last turn, can get you 8 cubes. People do not expect the Alioth. Supergiant messes up what they think is going to happen. And with an Absorbing Man under Supergiant and then Alioth, you can get 2 lanes of Alioth if you have priority, which this deck is trying to do. Of course, once again, I didn't bring up this thing at the bottom, but that's okay. We do have some gameplay highlights, so take a look. They're a lot of fun. I'll meet you back at the end. All right, we got the Black Cat right away. It's always nice. I like to play in a lane like Necrotia when I'm trying to get priority because they're unlikely to play there. Which means if we have a big enough power card, we'll hold priority in that lane for a little bit. Okay. This might be a bot. Let's get Gene down. Orvis and the Lockjaw Legion. We could just Negasonic here. Legion. Malekith will bring Lizard or Shadow King out? Guess we could Zabu. And Malekith here. That'll give us a good chance to draw Alioth maybe. Play that on the Gene lane. Shadow King over here. Ooh, Agatha. Awesome. So then we just Shang. Hopefully that's enough. See what they play here. Gambit. Lots of hits that would be fine. That one's not one of them. Okay. We still somehow pulled that out. They Jubilee to rock. Wow. Preemptive mute. Alright, Zabu. It's a good play. Lots of hits right now. Seems like a show loud deck. Shocker. Guess we'll play an early Supergiant here. Shadow King. Middle? Okay. Did we draw the same 3 cards? That was crazy. Go Stardust. Try to keep priority here. Do this. Captain Carter. Well, now they have priority. We can hit that Carter. We could go Shang. Gene. See how that works. Man, Shang didn't hit. Is the Shadow King enough here? Yeah. Whew, close one. Let's do the lizard thing. Try Cosmo here. Alright, cool. Stardust or Supergiant? Probably Supergiant, right?
I still believe in heroes.
Okay. So then it's Shang, Zabu. Cool. No one drop, but let's get our lizard down. Yeah. Obviously not Onslaught Citadel, that'd be bad. Ah. Guess I should have Cosmo'd left. This could be a good Stardust if they're blinking. Try to avoid Galactus. Hobgoblin. Huh. They are Galactusing, huh? And they can do it this turn. Their Galactus should just be a regular size. This is dangerous. Okay. And then Shadow King Supergiant. Whew. Nico could be a lot of things. Let's go for the Jean Grey play here. Okay. It's kind of huge. Shong and Lizard, I suppose. Alright, definitely fighting for priority here. Alright, it's feeling good. The Zombie Galacti deck. Galacti. We have Cosmo. Okay. I think we snap on the Cosmo here. Hopefully it goes middle. Oh. Supergiant. Long. Interesting. Yeah, that really messes them up. Crocia might be a good spot for Lizard on the priority hunt. That was a real good Zabu, by the way. Ooh, interesting. Cosmo's got a good chance of sniping something. Yeah. Agatha, maybe? Snap on the Gene. Now they can't Hella there. Yeah. Nice. Play Zabu there. They're going to be playing in Stark Industries, I assume. So Lizard on the right. Alright, got a snap on that. Little Cosmo action or Stardust? And Cosmo, because if they're gonna play on Stark Industries. Unless it's a random destroy deck. Nice. Could steal one of these lanes. I guess we'll Black Cat. Don't want to lose it. And we can still Lizard this turn. Or Gene. I'll snap on that. Negasonic them this turn. That should be a retreat, right? Stardust Lizard. Yeah, it's over. So that was the deck. I hope you enjoyed this one. It was a lot of fun, and one of the only decks that actually gave me success in the early part of the ladder here in this new season. I think I'll have some more stuff brewing, especially after some of these next few cards come out. But Jean Grey, if you want to play Jean Grey, you might not have that much time. So give this deck a shot. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. I'm always talking to you guys and would love to get to 1,000. Thanks so much for watching. Later.